Hey, sports card collectors and investors. I hope that everybody had an awesome weekend. It is Monday. I don't know if you all were looking forward to work on Monday or if it's a struggle, but I hope everyone is doing well, staying safe, and hopefully staying out of the way of this virus. So hopefully we're on the back end of this thing and we can get through it. I was watching the news, and I actually got a little bit depressed yesterday as I was looking at some of the news revolving around the NFL. And some of the player reactions. I'm not saying I'm depressed because of their reactions. I'm just depressed at the situation because it just seems more and more clear that NFL football, at the very least, the schedule is going to be modified to some degree. And who knows? Maybe they'll be playing like an 8-game season or something. I mean, it just doesn't seem like there's not anywhere near what sounds like a consensus between the players and the ownership and the league. And, that's a little scary when I believe training camp is supposed to start on the 28th. And then I think that rookies are supposed to show up this week. So it's bad. It's just so bad. And, it doesn't sound like there's really any progress being made. Maybe that'll change over the next few days. I mean, it's going to have to if camp is supposed to start in literally a week. And then we're moving into, some sort of a preseason. It might be 1 game or 2 games or something. But then, we're getting actually pretty close to when the regular season is supposed to start. So it's going to be interesting to see how this thing goes. I mean, I feel like it's like Groundhog Day. We keep on kind of saying the same things. But anytime I get some sort of optimism, there's news that, there's stuff that's not getting worked out, or, the COVID crisis is looking worse, or, however you shake it. So we will see. So anyway, today I'm covering 3 football cards that are under $100, and these are cards that have had movement on the data tool that I use, Card Ladder, over the last 14 days. So these aren't necessarily, anytime I do these types of videos, I want to make sure I'm absolutely clear. These are not, I don't do these buy now type videos. This is not a buy now anything. This is literally just data points as to here's some cards that have been kind of on the move from a transaction standpoint and price wise. That they've been moving. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. So the first player that I'm going to cover is one he's been very popular. It's the first round pick QB for the Cardinals, Kyler Murray. Everybody is so red hot on this guy. I mean, it's been months since that this has been happening. And I was kind of surprised. I mean, I even remember going back to even March, April, even before. I mean, even towards the end of last season, there was all sorts of hype, and this is before they got Hopkins, and there's been hype around Kyler Murray for months and months and months. And I get it, he's a first round pick, he's an exciting player. I think he's got a really good career in front of him, but there's just so much. I mean, if I'm just looking at the NFL in general, the NFL has become a QB heavy. The QB talent in the NFL right now is unbelievable. I mean, I would argue that this is the best QB play as far as the 32 teams that we've ever had in the history of the NFL, meaning that every team outside of maybe 3 or 4 teams has a legitimate franchise starting quarterback. And even with those teams that are still kind of on that bubble, they still have somebody there that's shown some sort of promise. I mean, Jacksonville comes to mind. I would have said Miami, but they just drafted Tua. But Jacksonville's got Minshew, and I know that Minshew's still kind of got to prove himself and whatever, but it's not like, you've got just like a 4th stringer that's going to go in there, or you've got an unproven rookie. Gardner Minshew, he showed some good stuff. I mean, he hasn't shown enough to say like this is the guy that we're going to have under center for 10 years. But he's still shown some stuff. So I guess my point is that it's a QB-heavy league, and that's what makes it very difficult right now for me investing in football cards, because it is reliant on QBs for the most part as far as investments go. Who do you pick? Who do you pick? Because we literally have no idea. And then you throw in all the COVID stuff, and then it's a matter of like who's going to get COVID, who's not going to get COVID, which teams are going to be affected. Is there even going to be an NFL season? So putting investment into football cards is a challenge, more so than in basketball, I feel like. And so, here we are. So anyway, the first card is Kyler Murray. It's 2019 Prism base. This is the PSA 9, actually. So The 10s have gotten a little bit pricey for this card. The 9 is right at about $85, $86. The Pop Report is $443 for this card. It's a beautiful card. And again, if you're high on Kyler Murray, a lot of people are, then I can see why this would be a good buy. It's a good price point. I get it. But again, it's a QB heavy league. And then that is in my opinion, that's the toughest division in football. The Rams, the Seahawks, the Cardinals, and the 49ers. I mean, the Rams, the Seahawks, and the 49ers are 3 teams that are Super Bowl contenders, literally. Next season, they could be, if any one of those 3 teams is playing the Super Bowl, you'd be like, I mean, maybe the Rams have taken a little bit of a step back, but I'm not going to count out Sean McVay. And Jared Goff gets a lot of flack, but the guy played in this. He was in the Super Bowl a couple years ago, and then before that, he was in the playoffs. He's a solid quarterback. So I think that the Rams are going to be competitive. Will they? Are they going to win the division? I don't know. That's just an extremely tough division. That's why I'm a little bit hesitant on Kyler Murray for me. My next 2 picks, I'm just going to tease it out. They're both running backs. So my hope is that there's some hobby love that goes more into running backs and wide receivers, even though I do understand that from an injury standpoint, they are a bigger risk for sure. But you kind of hope that just with sports cards in general, that market, just catching fire and there's, big momentum that maybe it does trickle down to running backs and wide receivers, exciting ones at that. And there's none that's more exciting right now than Christian McCaffrey. And so I'm looking at his 2017 Silver Prism, again in a PSA 9, and that's right in the $60 to $67 range. Pop Report is at $238. And McCaffrey is one of those guys, he's been kind of an Iron Man. He's done fairly well from an injury standpoint, considering how many touches that guy gets. He's literally Carolina's entire offense has been the last 2 seasons. And you don't really see that changing a whole lot. Even with the new coaching staff, I don't see that changing. They just paid him $1 zillion. So I have no doubt that he's going to keep on getting fed the rock with the money that he's getting paid. And just the fact that he is one of those he's low to the ground, he's sturdy. You never really see McCaffrey get blown up. He usually gets good leverage on defenders, and then he's got breakaway speed. So McCaffrey's one of those guys, it's like, he on the one hand, from an investment standpoint, he's exciting. He puts up numbers. He's been consistent. And so that part is exciting. On the other hand, if he's going to get 300 touches a year, if he's going to get, the ball that much, odds are, it's kind of like that injury risk goes up because he's touching the ball more. So of course he's going to be more apt to possibly get injured. But McCaffrey's an exciting player. As a Saints fan, I am not a McCaffrey fan, so I'm not going to be buying any McCaffreys. Maybe an alternate to this card is Alvin Kamara's rookie card. Alvin Kamara is playing in a contract year, so he is highly motivated to perform and produce, although Kamara is not the whole offense for the Saints. He's just a cog in the wheel, whereas McCaffrey is the offense. So anyway, that is the second card. And just an awesome looking card. I love those Silver Prisms. That's from the same year as Mahomes, that Christian McCaffrey. That's from 2017 if you're out looking for it. All right, last up I've got the running back for the up and coming Raiders, Josh Jacobs. And this guy had a great year last year, a great rookie season out of Alabama. John Gruden loves to run the football with his workhorse back, and Jacobs was that. I'm a little concerned. Jacobs got banged up a little bit last year. He's tough as nails, and he finished with a strong season. But it just makes me nervous. With any running back, of course, but Jacobs is one of those guys, though. He's a beast. He's a great running back. So if there's a guy you're looking to take a flyer on, his PSA 10 Prism base from 2019 is selling in the 90s, $95, $99. There's only 117 on the pop chart. So if this guy just breaks out and becomes the best running back in football, pulls like a Derrick Henry on us, who knows? His card prices could rise. We're seeing it happen with Michael Thomas's rookie cards and some of these other, these other playmakers, these running backs, receivers. We'll see if that carries over. Again, the sad part is, of course, we're talking about a lot of this being performance-based, and we just don't know what the performance is going to look like on the field. So that's really the huge wild card with all of this stuff. But I really like the Raiders. They play in a tough division, too, and they've got to get through the Chiefs, which is going to be a beast. But the Raiders are playing in the new stadium. They've got the first round wideout. They added out of Alabama. I'm drawing a blank on him, but he is a athletic freak. That guy, the first round pick out of Alabama. Was it Dees? Anyway, it's like Henry Dees, or I'm drawing a blank. There were so many good first-round wide receivers that a lot of them just kind of mixed together for me. But I think the Raiders are going to be legit. I know everyone's like David Carr and this and that. He can't do it. Not David, excuse me. Derek Carr. I always say David. I did that in the last video too. I'm just thinking about. I watch him as an analyst so much that I just keep on saying David. Derek Carr, I don't think that he is a bad QB. I think he's a good QB. Jacobs is good. They've got some receivers. They've got some talent on that roster. I do think Gruden is a good coach. He's, love him or hate him, I think that he is a good coach that can get them over the hump. So look out. I mean, maybe the Raiders are going to make some noise this year. So what do you guys think of these cards? Is anybody getting into those receivers and running backs, and which ones? Are you prospecting with kind of those newer receivers, or are you going with guys that are a little bit more established, like Michael Thomas, for example, with the Saints, or like a Larry Fitzgerald, a guy that's going to go to the Hall of Fame? Who are you guys kind of going after? I'd be curious to hear, because football cards are one where I've been going mostly on basketball, with kind of dinking and dunking with football here recently. But I would love to get into some football. So I'd love to hear what you guys are doing. So let me know in the comments. I appreciate it. And if you have not already, please subscribe. Over 160 videos at this point, guys. We're just trucking along. So keep them coming, and we will see you again next time.